doesn't love pinball games? After all, they are one of the world's oldest arcade games. The history of the modern machine differs depending on the machine type prior to World War II. One source says that David Gottlieb invented the pinball machine called Baffle Ball in 1931. Another source says that Montague Redgrave invented pinball from the patents of spring plunger and playfield bells in 1871. It was also Redgrave's patent where the spring launcher mechanism became mainstream, whereas other sources date back to the 1500s when the first tabletop versions of the garden bowling games were invented. It wasn't until 1931 when the coin-operated pinball machine was introduced, where you could get 5 to 7 balls for a penny. Not bad considering this was during the Great Depression. And yet, those machines had no flippers or bumpers. That didn't come until after World War II when Gottlieb introduced flippers in his 1947 pinball game Humpty Dumpty. Then came the 1970s when the revolution of electricity and the digital age upgraded pinball machines to arcade plazas like the one I'm standing in right now. So, what does this have to do with Sonic? Well, that's where he got his own pinball game in 1993. But you won't find that game here. You'll actually find that game here. That's right, in a video game store. Or at least in the retro section. Sonic Spinball. It was released in 1993 for the Sega Genesis, Game Gear, and Master Systems. It incorporated the Sonic classic game styles with the pinball game concept. At the time, it received positive reviews, citing it to be fun, fast, and frenetic pinball game. Of course, at the time, as time went on, the favorable reviews dropped. I think it was due to the modern age of high graphics and storytelling. Still, does Sonic Spinball hold up? Is it just as good as it was back in '93? Let's look deeper into that. I'm the optimistic Sonic fan, and I like Sonic Spinball. Sonic Spinball, Sonic's first pinball-style video game. It was actually made out of necessity. You see, it was developed by the Sega Technical Institute in America. In Japan, they were preoccupied with developing the dual games Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Sonic & Knuckles. When Sega realized that Sonic 3 would not be completed in time for the 1993 holiday release, they needed to develop a new game, and fast. Hey, fast is Sonic's middle name. They commissioned the American branch of the Sega Technical Institute to develop a game within a crammed 9-month period. Finally, on November 23rd, 1993, Sonic Spinball was released worldwide on the Sega Genesis. A year later, it was released for the Game Gear and Master Systems. At the time, it garnered mixed reviews. The question is it still good as it was back in 1993? Even for an old retro game, is it still positive enough to go back for nostalgic vibes? Let's play and find out. We start off with a unique Sega logo. When we start the game, we see Sonic and Tails flying towards a giant fortress in the middle of a body of water. Sonic apparently gets shot off and falls into the water. Short and sweet, very quick, a bit of action to start us off with the right mood. The game has 4 levels. In each level, Sonic must collect a certain number of Chaos Emeralds to unlock the door to the level's boss. Once the boss is defeated, we move on to the next level. In the first level, Sonic is in the sewers called Toxic Caves. After shaking himself off dry, we begin. I like how the first level starts off with water, indicating an exposed sub-basement for the entire fortress. It looks dark and damp. Apart from Sonic's contrast and bright blue sprites, the level gives that vibe of cold and unearthly feeling. You can almost feel the humidity like the basement. The boss you fight is named Scorpius. It's basically a creepy arachnid-like figure with Robotnik's head. The idea of an arachnid for the boss works well for the sub-basement sewer setting of the first level. Once defeated, you get a mini-game of an actual pinball game, the first of 3. I like these mini-games. You get to see Sonic's reflection in the glass indicating that he's playing. His hands and eyes are animated to coincide with the flippers and the location of the ball. The first minigame is called Trapped Alive. The one aspect I love about this game is that it's the only time we get to see the Freedom Fighters from the Saturday AM show make their only game appearance. The next level, called Lava Powerhouse, takes you to a fiery place. It looks like it's all withered from the extensive amount of heat, not to mention all the lava spewing about. I like this level as a stark contrast from the previous cold and damp level. The boss in this is simply an evil robo-boiler. Makes sense since the boiler is one of the primary hearts of any structure. Destroy the boiler, destroy the place. A classic example is Stephen King's The Shining. In a twist of Sonic's usual hit the enemy numerous times strategy, this time Sonic must jump into the boiler and defeat all 4 Roboheads. Each time he defeats one, he must go back in for another. That adds a contrast and challenge to the game. Why not? There are only 4 levels. Do something interesting. Here comes the next mini game, called Robo-Teeth. Now, let's all face it, we can feel this mini game. When this game came out, I was at the age where I was losing my teeth, and I could feel the pain and nostalgia when I was watching and playing this game. The premise is simple. Knock out each of his teeth and keep busting your way in until he's done for. Now we move on to the 3rd level. This is called The Machine.
I like how the music changes from heavy rock music of the previous two levels to almost soothing wind instruments. In a way, it gives you a strange sense of entering another world as well as false sense of security. The visuals here are linear and monotone, like what you would expect from a machine factory. I really love the background here. It looks like a computer motherboard. At one point in the level, you have to arrive in the prison hall and you have the option to unlock all the cells and free the animals. Of course, the Chaos Emerald is in one of them, but unlocking all of them gives you that feel-good feeling of helping others, which is exactly what Sonic is famous for. The boss room in this level is called the Veggie Machine. Has a strong nostalgic feeling of how Robotnik would roboticize his victims. This concept was made popular during the, at the time, current show of Sonic SatAM. Boy, SatAM really had a lot of influence in this game. Which makes sense, since both the game and the show were released at the same time. I'm guessing Sega wanted to build some bridge to connect the two universes together. Obviously, today, that didn't work out, and we have multiple universes and versions of Sonic. But I guess that's what makes him so unique and lovable. There is no one version of our favorite Blue Hedgehog. He has a wide range of diversity that can be suited to all varieties of fans. Still, I really love how Sega attempted to create a bridge between the games and cartoons. That especially goes to what comes next. We then get our last minigame. This one is called The March. To commemorate another one of Sonic's early cartoons, we have Scratch the Chicken Robot from the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog series. Both that cartoon and SatAM debuted and aired in the same year. In this game, the player must destroy as many Scratch Badniks as possible to bust the capsule open. Once destroyed, we see a collaboration of all the SatAM characters one last time. Like I said, this marks the SatAM Freedom Fighters' only game appearance in a Sonic video game. Before moving on to the final level, we get a quick cutscene of the whole fortress sinking, only for Robotnik's ship to fly away. Despite being made in 1993, I like these short and quick cutscenes that link stories and levels together. These were quite rare back then. With the technology they had at the time, something short and sweet was all we needed to get back to the gameplay. Now we move on to the final level, called Showdown. This is the final level, and it looks like a combination of the previous levels in a sort of construction workplace feel. In a way, I like how this is the top level, because it could still be under construction, so to speak. Still, a construction zone can be a very dangerous place. That adds to the stress factor of our character Sonic. There are a few pratfalls like pipes falling when you go through them. In the end, I like how this level shares the same difficulty as the previous three levels. Not too frustratingly difficult, but not too easy that it's boring. Each level is a perfect mix. The only real challenges are the fact that each level has more Chaos Emeralds to collect and different well-hidden places to get them. Unless you know the map layout, you'll have a bit of a time trying to find them. But in a sense, I guess that's what makes this game so fun. Oh, I will point out that the game frequently mentions Dr. Robotnik by that name and not Eggman, even though we heard Tails call him Eggman in one episode of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, which will be discussed in another episode. Eggman didn't become heavily mainstream until the 1998 game Sonic Adventure, released 5 years later. Before that, he was referred to as Robotnik, his original name. Just something I wanted to point out. In the final level, we get a variety of challenges to overcome, such as rocket boosters to work your way up and grabbing hooks from space. Eventually, you make it into Robotnik's rocket. And there we have it. We have destroyed Robotnik. Just like all the bosses you encounter in this game, the boss is simple, each with their own unique twists and turns, such as Scorpion's tail holding you back, the individual boiler heads, the tubes of the machine, and the plungers that Robotnik will set up to launch you away. Either way, they were all simple, with their own unique challenges, but without the headache of frustration. Was it hard at first? Speaking for myself, yes, but only once I learned the pattern, I got it. Moving on, we get to the ending cinematic. We see Sonic and Robotnik fallen when Tails comes into the rescue. I love this ending because we only got to see Tails in the very beginning and again at the end. As much as we all agree that Sonic is the big hero of this franchise, I like it when Tails steps in and saves Sonic. As for Robotnik and his fortress, yeah, he's toast. Nothing left but the ending credits, accompanied with a psychedelic guitar rock music riff blended with that old classic style MIDI sound. What can I say? It was the 90s. I really like this music because it gives that nostalgic feeling of the old pinball games you played with at arcades. And there we have it, Sonic Spinball. It wasn't perfect, but it was really good, and nothing was wrong with... Hey! Who turned out the lights? Here again? Okay, so I can't like everything. What can I say? I guess the main issue I have with this game is the fact that it is a pinball game. Why? Well, you're at the mercy of gravity and physics. There's no real perfect strategy to play a pinball game except luck. Good luck when you score hits, but it's bad luck when you fall over and into the pit. Honestly, that can lead to frustration and unfair deaths. The smaller play screen compared to Sonic can lead to confusion and timing problems, such as where and when exactly to launch Sonic. It can be hard looking around trying to find where the Chaos Emeralds are. That's all I have to say. Now leave me alone! That's it for Sonic Spinball. It may be dated now, but for 1993, it was quite an accomplishment. I'd say it can still hold up and be enjoyable today if you give it a chance. You don't need an old school Sega Genesis to play it. It's available for play in most compilations and streaming services. So if you haven't played it yet, and you want that classic pinball style game starring our favorite hedgehog, give Sonic Spinball a chance. I'm the optimistic Sonic fan, and I'll see you next time.